While many politicians are struggling for influence in the Nigerian political space, one man's influence continues to soar. His influence continues to increase, and that man is Peter Obi.
I left money in 3 banks. Those 3 banks are there. You can go there. In fact, after this interview, I have in my little office here a photocopy. I will give you a photocopy of my handover note, including the balances of that account as at date I left office, issued by the bank.
The question is, why is he so loved, especially among the young people? What is this special thing that he is doing that no other politician is doing in the Nigerian space? Now, if you look at Peter Obi's antecedents, the things he has done in the past, he has been able to distinguish himself among his peers. He has been able to show that he is different from the rest. He has not just done this through words, but through his actions. I think one thing that surprises many Nigerians is the fact that Peter Obi was able to save as much as he did during that period. And after 10 years, he keeps challenging this system, keeps challenging them that if anybody could be able to come up with anything against him. For the money that he saved in 3 banks, Peter Obi is on record that he saved 12 billion naira in 3 banks, in Fidelity, Access, and Diamond Bank, and also saved $50 million in these same 3 banks. So we are talking about $150 million in these 3 banks and 36 billion naira in these 3 banks. That's something that most Nigerian politicians or governors cannot boast of. In fact, some of them would even keep debts. When they leave government, you will be hearing that they borrowed this, they borrowed that, and all that. So instead of saving or keeping something for their successor, they end up keeping debts and a lot of things. In fact, it goes beyond just the money he saved. It's on record that he was not owing any contractor that has completed his or her job. Also, he was not owing any civil servant or any pensioner of their gratuity and everything that they were due. He also said that he kept money that was even enough to pay salaries at least 3 months or 4 months ahead. He kept money that was enough to pay 3 to 4 months salary ahead. So when you see this kind of person and the fact that he's not with the current administration or even the previous administration, and nobody is able to say all what this man has been saying, they are lies. That goes a long way to speak of the character of that man.
I left in Access Bank, which is still there. 12 billion naira, $50 million. And I'm going to give you a copy.
12 billion naira and $50 million in Access Bank.
I left in Diamond Bank, 12 billion naira, $50 million.
In Diamond and
Diamond, I left in Fidelity Bank, 12 billion naira, $50 million.
$50 million in these 3 accounts, and plus 12 billion naira.
And 36 billion.
What debts
No,
are due?
1 minute. They're documented. Rufai, the day I left office, I was not owing one contractor, one supplier who have executed his job. If you see one today, I challenge you. Go and sit. I was not owing any civil servant that was supposed to be paid by the state salary. I was not owing gratuity. I was not owing pension. Additionally, if you want to know, I left salary enough to pay salary for 3 months. It's documented. And I'm going to give you the documents.
Recently, there have been a lot of conversations about the coalition and all that. And so many persons are saying that any coalition that does not produce Peter Obi as the flag bearer or as the head or as the leader of that coalition is just like a church gathering or a house fellowship. That's the language that they use. And you start asking yourself, why are the politicians not trying to emulate this guy? Or why are they not asking themselves, why is it that people so much love this man? In fact, if you interview most of the top politicians in the Southeast, I mean, even those that are in the party in power, that's All Progressives Congress, when you try to ask them questions, I mean, all the OJs and the rest, when you start asking them questions about Peter Obi, they shy away because they know that if they try to rubbish that name or try to say negative things about that name, they are putting themselves at risk of not being elected or re-elected into whatever position that they are holding. So this man is the center of the whole conversation. In fact, for me, I think what Nigerians should be clamoring for is electoral reforms. I'll say it and say it over and over again, that if we have electoral reforms and the right policies, the right processes take place, it will be very difficult to beat Peter Obi in a free and fair election. We just need the process to be right. Now, it is not even just about Peter Obi, it's about every political office from the very councillors to the president. The people must have that power to hire and fire. That's the language. So if the people have this power to hire and fire, a lot of things will be put in place. Peter Obi is the man to beat even in 2027. In fact, his influence have grown because so many persons that did not believe that it was possible what he did in 2023, now they know that it is possible, despite the fact that there are a lot of fears that the president, that's Bola Ahmed Tinubu, will not be willing to relinquish power and all that. That's why everybody must strive for, or everybody must push for electoral reforms. We know that there are going to be a lot of clogs, there are going to be a lot of roadblocks along the line trying to get these things right. But everybody must add their voice. Everybody must push for electoral reforms, because if there are electoral reforms, you would see that it will be very difficult to rig election. It's difficult to have a perfect election in the current Nigerian system or in the current democracy that we practice, but we can achieve more than what we've been doing in the past. A situation where votes are transmitted from polling units to the INEC server will save us a lot and a lot of malpractices that have been taking place in the past. So everybody should look, every politician must look at the example of who Peter Obi. Today we are still hearing of the federal government trying to borrow money and all that. In fact, the whole idea of removing subsidy was to have more than enough. And just as the federal government will always boast that the IGR, not the IGR, the state allocations have increased more than times three. So if the allocations are increasing and even the people are not even feeling the impact of these increases, while the price of goods and services continue to soar higher and higher, you will see that there will be a lot of groaning in society, a lot of dissatisfaction, and that's what's happening. Now, somebody was able to save during his time, save as much as 36 billion naira and $150 million in a state like Anambra. We are not talking about the oil rich states in Nigeria, we are talking about Anambra. This is something that is worthy of emulation, and that's why you see that his influence continue to grow by the day. So if we must get it right, people must learn to copy good habits. We cannot be in this present situation where we are saying, oh, fuel subsidy has been removed. Luckily, we have a refinery, even if it's a private refinery, that's working now. And if a lot of things that were not working before, as the government is trying to claim credit, is working, why why do we keep hearing of borrowing and borrowing? Even the fact that most of these monies will be borrowed and you will not see even the effect of these monies that will be borrowed. It's another thing to worry about. But that is not the point. That's not the reason for this video. This video is trying to call out all the politicians to see the good example of Peter Obi. After 10 years, he will still challenge anybody to come up with any evidence of corruption against him. And none of the crime fighting institutions have been able to come up and say, oh, Peter Obi is guilty of this or he has done this and all that. That is why Peter Obi's influence continues to soar and to grow. And leading to 2027, I am seeing that he's going to be the candidate to beat. It's going to be one person that will give the All Progressives Congress a very good fight.